My name is Sarah Frimpong, and I'm the CEO and founder at WellFound Foods. WellFound is grounded in a simple idea. We believe that people should never have to compromise quality for convenience. Specifically, what we do is we leverage machine learning and smart vending to create anytime, anywhere access to fresh, healthy food. So I think you've been there. I think you've maybe been sitting in an airport terminal, maybe a hospital waiting room, when you got hungry and the only options that were available to you weren't also good for you. The truth is, you're not alone. 63% of Americans are trying to eat healthier, and 55% of US food spending is on food eaten outside of the home. Yet the nutritional composition of that food is consistently lower quality and more caloric than at-home alternatives. That's the problem that we're working to solve right now at WellFound, and we believe the solution to that problem is our smart market. So our smart market at its core is a 24/7 tech-enabled unattended restaurant. We're using machine learning to maximize our sales and minimize our spoilage, and we're using IoT technology to provide remote control and access into every machine in our fleet. We're also a completely vertically integrated company. Our culinary team executes on 4 new menus a year that meet over 6 different dietary preferences. Our goal is that no matter how you eat, you can find a meal in our machine for each and every day part. Last but not least, we strive to be zero waste. We compost during the time of production, we package our meals in recyclable jars, and we offer recycling at each of our machines. And for those meals that don't sell, we donate them to the community through a variety of different local food rescue partners. In Q3 alone, we diverted almost 18,000 pounds of food from landfill, and we donated over 10,000 meals through partners like Food Rescue US and Nourish Now. So, in March 2020, pre-COVID, WellFound Foods was a profitable distributor of meals to retailers. So in that capacity, we worked with companies like Pete's Coffee and Tea and Phil's Coffee to provide them with meals they could resell to their guests. We had just begun to explore vending as an additional source of revenue and had only 3 machines in the field. Fast forward to the end of that month, every single wholesale customer had shut down, and only 1 of our 3 vending machines was still operating. What became clear to our team in the weeks that followed was that if our business was going to survive, we had to fully commit to that vending opportunity because we could not rely on those wholesale customers coming back. Too long, don't read, that's what we did. Today we have almost 80 machines in the field, and we've established channel partnerships with the 3 largest vending machine operators in the country. Those partnerships, together with our 100% land and expand success rate, means we're poised for rapid growth in the next 18 to 24 months. We estimate the market opportunity in the Washington-Baltimore market to be worth about $18 million. For context, we got to that number using 2 different approaches. The first is what I call the farmer's fridge approach. I looked at my biggest competitor in their home market of Chicago, and we determined about how many machines they have per capita there. We took that ratio, we applied it to the DMV. Our second approach was a bit more targeted. For that, we looked at what we call high-value verticals for placement. Those are verticals like healthcare, higher education, transportation, military, and government. We determined about how many of those kinds of locations exist in this market, and on average, how many machines they can each support. Both approaches led us to 250 fridges, or that $18 million opportunity. We see the fresh food vending space to still be very much in its early stages. What we've learned are that competitors to WellFound have actually turned into our partners and potential acquirers for our business. Our team's excited about this opportunity because the unit economics make sense. A single machine today can pay for itself in just over a year with an 81% internal rate of return. We're also really excited about how those unit economics begin to shift by Q3 of next year, particularly with investments in our go-to-pricing strategy to grow our top-line revenue and investments in further developing our inventory management solution to increase our gross profit margin. All said and done, that means a single machine can pay for itself in under a year with an 107% internal rate of return. Our strategy to scale is first to reach profitability with our current fleet of 80 machines. We're going to do that by driving our top-line revenue through those new go-to-market pricing strategies, as well as further developing our inventory management solution to increase our gross margin. From there, we have options. The first is to expand into new markets by leveraging co-manufacturing partners to execute our food production. What our team has learned is that the proximity between the kitchen where the food is being made and the fridges where the food is being sold, it's important that's small to maintain the quality of the product. So as we go into new markets, we'll leverage co-manufacturing partners to work with us to do the food production while we execute fulfillment and then distribution to the machines. The other opportunity that we see for scaling is to take our inventory management solution and develop that into a platform model for other brands who want to enter into the unattended retail space for food. 63% of food operators are trying to grow their revenue outside of their 4 walls, and we know unattended retail has only reached 1/10 of its potential. So we see an opportunity to power other food brands who want to get into this space in the same way we did without having to become a tech company. No strategy to scale is going to be worth anything without the right team. So from overall operations to business development to marketing to culinary, of course, and our growing data analytics and tech team, we have the right people in place, and we're bringing on the right people to actually execute on that strategy. In total, we're raising $1.5 million. The use of funds is first to further develop that inventory management solution that we have in place into a proprietary software solution. We're going to invest in marketing to help drive that top line revenue, and then working capital to get us there as we march towards profitability. And that's the end of the presentation, and I'm going to invite our COO, Brian Becker, up with me to answer some questions for you guys.
Well thought through presentation. Thank you for the comprehensiveness of it. Just to lift under the hood, especially my passion, nutrition, I was curious, given the fact, one, the turnover rate in terms of the quality of product, knowing that you have, produce, fresh produce captured in jar, oxidation happening, how is that handled? And then I'll do a follow-up after that.
Sure. So we have a director of food safety and quality who thinks about things like that each and every day. What we do is, first of all, we produce food 6 days a week. We're replenishing machines at least twice a week. For some of our higher flying machines, you might see us there 3 or 4 times a week. Food safety is at the cornerstone of what we do. We've been audited by, obviously, DOH has to come by, but also companies like Amazon and the Department of Defense for our machines at places like the Pentagon. So we think through all of these factors, and we have folks who come through to make sure that we're doing what we said we were going to do.
Thank you. And the quick follow-up is, since you emphasized the piece on nutrient-rich product and knowing what could that mean, right? So if we look under the hood and take your lettuce, for instance, if it's coming from Bowery, when we look at topsoil depletion, we know that we have issues of like the quality of calcium or B12 in one product may not be the same. Is there any research around the terrestrial difference versus vertical grown lettuce, which one actually is more nutrient dense or not, to really make certain claims in your labeling?
That's a great question. So we don't go as deep into our sourcing to that level. I will say this, because we have a food safety department and everything is labeled, we make sure that we understand exactly what's going into each and every container and that we're sourcing as locally as we can. And then moving out from there, understanding that we have to service all of these machines and make sure we get the product in time and on time. But sourcing is something that our chief culinary officer is really focused on in terms of, is this the right product? Are we putting the right things in here from a nutrient perspective and things of that nature?
Thank you. And I just want to educational moment. I know FDA has came out with the definition of what is healthy. And so just mindful around regulation, whether it's FTC or FDA claims when you move forward. But overall, great job. Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Can you speak about the average cost of a jar and who your customer is?
Sure. Cost is something that is obviously extremely important in a volume-based business like ours. So we are constantly looking for new ways that we can cut into the cost of each good sold. As we speak, in fact, there is a container that I know for a fact has arrived in Baltimore because we've watched it go all the way from China through the Panama Canal because we're directly sourcing our chars from China now. And the bottom line cost, or the effect on the bottom line, they went from 33 cents a jar to 11 cents a jar. And they're also screen printed with our logo on it as opposed to actually having to buy labels and have somebody on our team put the label on it. So that's one small example of how we're trying to address the costs. We try to have a 40% margin on each of our goods sold. The tricky part there, which speaks to the platform model that Sarah spoke of and the machine learning algorithm, the spoilage is huge. It's a huge factor. So if you are trying to figure out, all right, on the White House machine, for instance, it might do 3 or 4 times the revenue of some of our lower performers. But if we send too much with each of those deliveries, then whatever those top line gains are, we lose by the time it gets to the bottom line. So really that middle part is absolutely crucial. And what we figured out is that when we did our market research, and we've been to like conferences where the other vending operators are there are a lot of people out there who make food, and there are a lot of people out there with vending machines. The stuff that happens in the middle that we really specialize in is incredibly difficult. And that's where we realize that's our key differentiating factor. And we think that once we're able to bundle that up and show that success, that's how the platform model can then either turn into our own expansion plans in other markets, potentially a franchise play at some point if we develop that playbook, or as Sarah mentioned, allowing brands like other fast casuals who want to get into this space to execute the playbook as well.
You didn't answer my question.
I think you were asking about the price.
Yes,
Yes,
price.
price of each.
What's the average cost per jar?
Average price. of
Average
each.
price. Average price to the customer is about $7.99 each.
Yeah.
And to give a sense, our menu runs the gamut. So we have our snacks inside. So we have a 2-ounce side of chicken that might be more at the $3.99 level, and then it goes all the way up to a 32-ounce salad. It is bigger than a sweet green salad, and that might be more at $11.49, $11.99. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, I have time for a question. What percentage of the food goes to waste? You had it on a slide, and I know that it was quickly passed by, but it's a good question. Several people asked it.
Yes. So I will say this. When we first started, the spoilage, so the food that we have done all this work to make and deliver and put in front of you that we then take out that isn't sold, it used to be like 30%. Those were very hard days. We've now gotten down to 13%. And our goal is to get to 8% spoilage. And that's really what this inventory management, the further development of that platform, that's really what it's about. And it just drops dollars to our gross profit margin. It's going to get us to profitability.
It's never going to be 0%, incidentally.
Yes.
Because then you get lots of angry client fridge picks saying that there's an empty fridge. What's your problem? You didn't send any food this time. So there is a consumer psychology element to an empty fridge, too.
Last, one important question.
Yeah.
Are the people here that are from Ward 7 and 8, are they interested in this kind of product, and can they afford your product?
It's a great question. So we know that there is interest in the product. There's interest in fresh, healthy food. One of the things that this entire program really helped us sit down and do was figure out what is the right pricing model for us to be able to roll this out. How can we make a machine work anywhere? And we're really excited because we figured that out, and it's not only going to help us. Everyone okay? It's not worth the question. It's not really going to help us. It's not only going to, pardon me, help us address putting this in Ward 7 and 8. It's going to help us address it across the entire business. And so we are very excited to be working towards finding locations to launch that new pricing model that we know works. And that's going to be the next step for us as we leave the program.
And if I could add to that very quickly, when we first started out in this cohort, people would ask, okay, if we had the right agency or the right contact, how much does it cost in order for you guys to drop one of these machines anywhere? And we didn't have a good answer for them, quite frankly. By looking very closely at our costs and what we need in order to operate, not only has it opened the door towards putting these machines in food insecure areas, it also has allowed us to go to our current partners and say, look, you might have 5 hospitals in your network, only 2 of them might do the volume that we need. We can figure out a price for the other 3. And that's really the big light bulb moment for us that the Ward Infinity cohort helped us figure out, and we're excited about all those possibilities.
What impact is this having on the community? Or how many people are you hiring? What impact are you getting from the politicians and the community? Because this is a community effort.
Sorry, can you restate the question?
Yeah, what impact are you having on the community as workers and providers of your service?
Sure. So our team has grown in the last 12 months by probably about 30%. The majority of folks coming onto our team are actually from Ward 7 and 8. And so we see that happening as we hire and as we grow our team. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.